How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the GOP tax bill, or the GOP tax scam bill, like many people have been calling it, people that are triggered about it. Now, if you're watching this video, if you listen to the sound of my voice, I'm not quite sure if you are triggered about the tax bill or what your stance is on it, but we got to talk about it today. And the reason is because of the effects that have already been able to be seen. Now, some talking heads and the mainstream media, people on social media, just regular everyday people, they're thinking that this is going to be catastrophic for the poor people. It'll just give us a disadvantage. It'll just help the uber rich and it won't help anybody else. The so-called trickle down economics from the Reagan administration won't work. It didn't work then, it won't work now. I've heard all the naysayers. I've heard all the negativity that could possibly be said about this tax bill. However, when I saw the specifics of it, then I knew that we had something good here. The first thing, before I even get to the corporations, which you see on the screen before you, the first thing is for just the average person, starting January 1st, 2018, you will be able to receive those benefits. So once you file your taxes coming up, 2019, springtime, tax season, you will have had 1 full year of the tax benefits. The first thing is for married couples, up to $24,000, there's no tax. So you can write all that off. Okay. Single person, $12,000. Now, and the most important thing, in my humble opinion, out of the whole tax code, there's a few different things, but the most important thing is the corporate tax rate going from 35% down to 21%. That is huge. Now, someone said that's going to increase the national debt. I'm not quite sure if it is or if it isn't. But what I do know is that it's going to have a direct benefit on the average everyday person. And you can see it on the screen before you. AT&T, Comcast, Wells Fargo, and other companies we probably talk about in a little bit that are not named right here in the headline promise bonuses or pay hikes once tax cut bill passes. I saw a memo from AT&T, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But in the memo, it said, hey, we're going to give you these bonuses. This was a memo to the actual employees of the company. We're giving you these bonuses. And if Trump signs a tax bill before Christmas, you'll get the bonuses before Christmas. So imagine that. You're just an average everyday person, working stiff, and you get this big bonus right before Christmas, unexpected due to Donald Trump. But we're going to get into all of that after we get through the article here. This article is pretty short. I just need to read it to give you some full scope about who's doing what, where the bonuses are coming from, and how it's going to affect you, the average person. The subhead beneath this, this is a video here. It's not really much in this video, but the subhead here said the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was finally passed Wednesday. This was late in the night, early morning. It was like 1 o'clock. I went to bed. I did a video about it, and then I went to bed. I got up that morning, and it had passed. It was crazy. So I think that was like early Wednesday morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning that Wednesday. The bill is unpopular with Democrats, to say the least. I don't think any Democrats voted for it. And the American people, according to polls, which we know sometimes polls don't mean anything. It was a poll talking about Hillary Clinton was going to win like 98.5% with 98.5% accuracy. We see that didn't work, but I digress. But AP economic analyst, what's his name? Josh Bulk says, we might see edits in the coming years. Okay, that was on December 20th. That was yesterday. Here's the article. Some of the cash windfall from corporate tax cuts is already trickling down to Main Street workers. A handful of U.S. companies are already promising to pay one-time bonuses to their employees and bump up hourly pay if President Trump signs into law the tax reform bill that has been voted on by the Republican Congress. Here's some links, and of course, I always put the articles in the description box below, so you're able to read everything that's right here on the screen before you, some of these links. AT&T was the first company to go public with its plans to pass along coming tax savings to workers, saying once the tax bill is passed, it would pay a special $1,000 bonus to more than 200,000. I'm going to say that one more time, to 200,000 of its non-management workers. Now, AT&T only has about 245,000 employees total. And I think the 200,000 employees are all in the U.S. So let's let that sink in. The bonus could hit employees' paychecks over the holidays if Trump signs the bill before Christmas, according to the memo, which I said earlier. The company said in a statement. The telecom giant also confirmed it would invest $1 billion more in the U.S. in 2018. This is what I talked about in the previous video. When you have the tax rates of people that have a lot of money go down, they have more incentive to invest money into their business and also into the people that run their business or that help run their business, the average everyday employee. This is going to make work conditions better. This is going to make your pay better. It just makes more sense rather than having that money go to the federal government and get spent on who knows what, $20 million rest stops, Northern Virginia, stupid stuff, bridges in nowhere. We can have that money get put back into the hands of the people. And I think people will be better able to spend that money and distribute that money amongst who they want to distribute it amongst better than the federal government would be able to procure that money from the people and spend it on whatever they spend it on. Congress, working closely with the president, took a monumental step to bring taxes paid by U.S. businessmen in line with the rest of the industrialized world. Randall Stephenson, AT&T chair and CEO, said in a statement, the tax reform will drive economic growth and create good paying jobs. In fact, we will increase our U.S. investment and pay a special bonus to our U.S. employees. Comcast announced Wednesday that it would award one-time $1,000 bonuses to more than 100,000 employees, which would include frontline and non-executive employees. The Communication Workers of America, the union that represents many of those frontline workers, had demanded that employers guarantee the yearly $4,000 household wage increase that Republican lawmakers asserted would be the outcome of the tax cut. Other companies, including Fifth Third Bancorp, Wells Fargo, and Boeing, also announced that they would pass along tax savings to their workers. See, that's how that goes. People think that these big companies are just evil, like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, that this evil guy doing all this with the evil, ha ha ha, all that kind of stuff, the crazy laugh. No, they're all about trying to be competitive. And to be competitive, you got to be able to invest money whenever you can. Okay, so if you see AT&T investing a bunch of money into their business and also their workers, and you are a competing telecom or some kind of other industry that's right along those lines, you want to do the same thing. You want to be able to retain your good employees. You don't want a high turnover rate. Like, this is just business 101 basic stuff. And the average normie, the average everyday person does not really understand business in the true sense. They understand it from an emotional standpoint, from how they feel on the inside, but they don't really understand what it takes to make business grow. But I digress. The news is the first sign that many in the middle class will benefit financially from their employers paying less in taxes. Well, I think you could have seen that from the beginning. This is pretty simple. If you are an employee of an employer that gets taxed less, then why would they not invest some of that money back into you? Because you're valuable. Not only are you, the human being, valuable, but their business is valuable. And their business is what makes them a billionaire. So they're going to invest more into the business to make more money. They have an incentive, as do you. The tax reform bill, which includes a big and permanent tax cut for corporations and temporary tax relief for individual taxpayers. I'm going to stop right there. I'm seeing this floating around. They're talking about, the tax breaks are going to expire after 5 years or 10 years. I'm seeing like 2023, 2025. What I've been able to find from my research, and if I'm wrong about this, let me know in the comments below, is that some things in the tax bill will expire after a certain amount of time, but not necessarily. They are up for renewal, so they could expire if they're not renewed. Okay, that's the main thing. They're up for renewal. It's just like when you had George Bush's tax cuts. They expire after a while. Now, I think they have been renewed once or twice, but then they were allowed to expire after a certain point. Okay, so you don't have to go back and then do a bunch of other stuff to rescind it. You can just have it be up for a vote. It's like the same thing with the Voting Rights Act. That has been expired as of now, but it had been renewed multiple times. So it's just a matter of where we're at in the country. Do we still need the tax cuts? Do we still need the tax breaks? Or do we not? So the option is there to renew it or not. But I digress. Let's get back to the article. The tax reform bill, which includes a big and permanent tax cut for corporations and temporary tax relief for individual taxpayers, has fostered a heated debate on Capitol Hill and on Wall Street as to whether middle-class Americans will benefit as much as big business will. Corporate announcements, in addition to AT&T's that were rolled out on Thursday that show workers will share in the benefits include, here we go, Fifth Third Bancorp, a regional bank based in Cincinnati, said it will raise the minimum wage for all of its nearly 3,000 hourly employees to $15 and will distribute a one-time bonus of $1,000 for more than 13,500 employees by the end of the year if the bill is signed by December 25th. So basically they're saying, hey, if it gets signed before Christmas, the same thing as AT&T, you get $1,000 before Christmas. And what family that is working, sometimes struggling nowadays, would just say, well, I don't need $1,000. I think most all families would need that money right about now. And that'd be a big influx into the economy because people are spending a lot of money right now. You're talking about Black Friday just passed. Christmas is right here. I mean, that money is desperately needed for many people. And, you know, the whole thing about the minimum wage, some would say, well, aren't you against minimum wage being raised to $15 and fight for 15? Yes, I am against it as far as it being a federally mandated thing. But if you are a company and you say you want to just give your employees that's your business, you know, because my thing is employees and employers should be able to negotiate what is best for them, and whatever they agree upon, that's what it should be, rather than having the federal government stick their noses in it and say what the actual rate should be. OK, so this is just a form of smaller government. The government is reducing the taxes that they're going to take from businesses and the average person. Therefore, people are able to communicate better rather than having the government be involved with everything. They can be involved less. Quote, we want to invest in our most important asset, our people, said Fifth Third President and CEO Greg Carmichael. The tax cut, the CEO said, provided an opportunity for the bank to, quote, reevaluate its compensation structure and share some of those benefits with its talented and dedicated workforce, unquote. There we go. Wells Fargo, a San Francisco bank that has been hurt by a scandal involving the opening of 3.5 million unauthorized client accounts, also said it would boost its minimum wage to $15 per hour, an 11% increase from its current hourly rate of $13.50 once the law was passed. The pay raise will go into effect in March of 2018, the company said. Aerospace giant Boeing said it would move forward with $300 million in investments as a result of the new tax law, including $100 million in employee training and education and $100 million to enhance Boeing facilities as part of its Workforce of the Future initiative. Quote, each of these investments benefits Boeing's most important strength, our employees, and reflects the real-time impact and economic benefit of the reforms, Boeing CEO Dennis Muilenburg said in a statement. There we go. Now, media and cable company Comcast said it would award special $1,000 bonuses to more than 100,000 eligible employees. The company, which also owns NBC Universal, said it also expects to spend more than $50 billion over the next 5 years investing in infrastructure to improve and extend broadband plant and capacity and its television, film, and theme park offerings. Now, these are the same guys people talking about are just demons and all this and that because of their stance on net neutrality. Now, if they're going to invest $50 billion in infrastructure, you don't think you're going to benefit from that? You don't think that your Netflix might run a little bit faster because of that? See, this is how things are supposed to actually go. Okay, things are supposed to go this way. Rather than having the government say, okay, Comcast, you must pay to get more infrastructure without any kind of benefit because Netflix needs it without giving you any kind of tax breaks. It's like, okay, cool. We see a problem going on right here. You guys need more actual liquid capital flowing through your business. So guess what? We're going to just get rid of some of these taxes and allow you to have that capital free flowing to be able to invest back in your business. So now the whole thing about net neutrality might not even be a thing because Netflix might be benefited in this situation, even though net neutrality did not pass, because now they're investing $50 billion in infrastructure, which is going to directly help Netflix. So Netflix should thank Trump's administration for not allowing net neutrality to go through and allowing the tax breaks to go through, because that's going to help them more. They can stop spending money on these lawyers and these lobbyists to help get net neutrality passed and just live and just work with the CEOs, because now there's more money flowing and it just makes sense for everybody involved. That's how these things work, and that's why the tax cut bill is a good thing. So what do you think? Do you think the tax cut bill is a bad thing? Now, if you think that way, please explain to me why in the comments below. I'd love to hear your assertion. I'd love to hear your reasoning behind your statements. I don't think it's going to be a bad thing at all. I think it's going to be a 100% great thing. Why is it bad to allow people to have more of their own money in their pocket? I don't understand. Why is it bad to allow businesses to have more of their own money in their pocket? Where's the money going to go? People talking about, oh, well, this is just going to help the rich. It's just going to help those who already have a lot of money. But what people don't understand is the rich are the ones that provide most of the jobs. People that have money, maybe not all the times the rich, sometimes it's the rich. You know, you're talking about 1% of businesses account for like 1/3 of all jobs in the U.S. Most businesses are small, but to even have a small business, you need capital. You need the ability to get money and to keep money rather than having it being taken from you by the federal government. That's part of the reason why I became a conservative as I close here. I remember I was in one of these places getting my car worked on. You know, one of these places you can go get an oil change and stuff like that in one place. I was in there minding my own business, and then the older black gentleman came up to me and just started talking. And he was asking me, what do you do? I was like, you know, I do graphic design. This is like probably about 10 years ago. I do graphic design. I do print stuff. That's basically what I do. I'm self-employed. He was like, hey, man, once you start making money, the white man come and take it from you. Now, I'm listening to him, but I'm not really on board with him yet. But he was talking about taxes. He was like, look, all these taxes are so oppressive. You try to make it as a black man with a small amount of capital. If you have a black business in a black area, you're not going to really be able to pay these taxes because you're not going to have enough money to be able to facilitate the whole situation. It becomes a struggle. And I can't say he was wrong, you know, dealing with black business in black areas. I think that the so-called minority in a situation with the tax bill should be the most thankful, because we know how difficult it is to work in black areas or Hispanic areas, whatever you want to call it, because there's not enough capital to be able to pay these exorbitant tax rates, especially in the big cities, in New York's, San Francisco's, or whatever. So this should directly go to help the average everyday person, the small guy, the little guy, to get more traction in the business world, to be able to gain more of a foothold in the economic battlefield that we live in, and be better able to battle in it rather than being a victim to the big companies that have endless amounts of money. So that's pretty much my 2 cents. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.